Alright, so we're back with this Polaris Sportsman 500. Just put the starter on it in a different video. You can go check that one out on my channel. The thing that we're working on now, though, is brakes. This handle, it doesn't even return itself. I'm hoping that this unit itself isn't bad. There is a little bit of squish there. So the first thing we're actually going to do is just open it up and see if there's any fluid inside of it. Those are pretty coarse thread screws. They come out pretty quickly. Minimal to none. So we're going to start out there and just see what that does. The top of the reservoir here says it's .3. So that's what I've got. So we're going to go ahead, put some of that in there. Sometimes it'll go down on its own. Pumping it doesn't seem to do anything, but there is a little bit of squish I've got here. Might be trying to apply something. It's not applying the brakes themselves though. So I guess we're going to go ahead and just try to bleed them and see if that brings something back to life. Same rules apply to this as they would with the car. You go to the farthest one from the master cylinder first. Because Polaris actually do a thing where this handle here controls all 4 tires. Whereas most four-wheelers are, like the pedal, and this handle would be rear. Over here would be front. You don't have the front. This one does all of them, and I believe the foot pedal only does the rear. But we're going to go to the farthest one, the caliper down there, and open that up, try to bleed it, see what happens.
We are working on this guy.
Because now we're kind of going to be fighting for it. Looks like there's 2 bleeder screws on it. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know which one does what or why there's 2. I do know that my wrench is way too big. I also know that I don't have a wrench that small real handy. So we're going to be bad and use vice grips. I'm just going to pull that right out for now. I'll go up there and see if that fluid level's dropping at all, just from gravity feed.
Does not look like it has moved.
Okay. I'll take the other one out. Keep watching that. I'm pulling the other bleeder screw. Does anything happen?
Not that I can see.
Go ahead and give it a couple squeezes.
I don't think anything's happening.
This is not by any means a proper repair here, but we're just gonna that actually does feel like it helped. Like I have more happening here now. Alright, go ahead and give it some half pumps and I'll see if any fluid comes out down here.
Ooh.
What's going on?
Got bubbles.
Oh, that's good. It's filling in the space. Is the level going down?
A little bit, but...
Oh, actually we got a problem down here. Bring the camera over.
Ooh, bringing the camera over.
Okay, so at this point, I took these bleeder screws out just thinking I'd fill up the system. But while she was doing that, underneath here you can see it's drip. Well, maybe you can see.
No, you can see it. It's dripping.
You can see it? Oh, it's actually probably easier without my light. But there's brake fluid coming right out of this caliper, so that's bad. So we're going to get one of those on the way and keep going with that. So I ordered a brake caliper for it. Just like the starter, I ordered a Chinese one. But it's okay. It's according to the box, it is a stable power sports parts maker, so you know it's good. A couple fittings of some sort in there. It's in bubble wrap. Well, packaging is decent. Came with the pads in it. I mean, just holding this, I wouldn't have been like, yeah, that's definitely a cheap Chinese item. So it's got, everything looks about the same. So you can see from here, I got 2 mounting holes. I can see them down there. I'm gonna say those are 14s or maybe 9/16 because it's Polaris. Set that aside and get myself a ratchet. Ow.
You good?
Got one broke free. Released suddenly, kind of jolted everything in my body.
He's breaking himself to fix the machines.
Okay, I loosened those, and then I just kind of had a thought. I should probably get those brake lines broke free while it's still bolted there. That way it holds itself in place. Got like 6 wrenches, so obviously it's going to be one of the ones in the toolbox.
Of course.
Not a 1/2 inch. It's a 7/16.
7/16. All right.
This is the brake line fitting. It goes into this adapter which screws into here. And if I try to take this fitting out right here, it spins the adapter. So I'm going to have to hold the adapter while I loosen that. It'll work well enough. Looks like the lines want to stay with the fitting. That's the problem. We can't let it do that. Hoping at some point it lets go. I mean, it's broke free. If I can get one or the other loose, I can spin the whole caliper once it's off. But I don't have a whole lot of room to work with the other one. So we could try spraying it, get some, PB Blaster or something like that. Honestly, I don't really expect that to be that helpful. So I could try holding this line, because right now is when I spin it, see if I can get on there. If I spin it, the entire line tries to move. I'm now looking up there though and seeing there's another spot I can disconnect that hose. About 8 inches forward. If you move around to the other side,
this
you can
guy.
see that. If I can get it off there, I can pull everything out as a unit. So we're going to try doing that. Hey, that one fit.
Hey, look at me go. We are working. Look at me go. Look at me go. No one will understand that reference.
So many people will understand that reference.
You think so?
It's more popular than you think. Check out Suction Cup Man on YouTube. It's hilarious.
Oh, it's so good.
Alright, so I was holding here and trying to get this loose, and my wrench was slipping. I don't actually have a line wrench handy. I have one somewhere, I couldn't find it. A normal wrench was slipping. I just grabbed this end with vice grips and still held this with a wrench, and that was able to grab it, and I got it loose. And see, the fitting spins, the line doesn't. I don't really have to remove that any further, because as long as the line spins, I can undo it from the caliper over here. So that's what we're gonna do now. I think I gotta. So now when I spin it, and it spins the entire line, it's just spinning that fitting over there, and no harm done. So I'll finish getting this line out, and we'll move on to the next one. Alrighty, so I got the one line off. The back one, that line is actually so rotted out that I didn't really have any chance to save it. I'm just gonna end up having to replace it. But moving on from that, we'll get back to that when we can. So we're going back to these mounting bolts I loosened earlier. So I'm going to pull out the first one. It's like they're just typical bolts, nothing special. They don't look like a car does where they're slides. They are the same front to back. The caliper just lifts off, leaves the rotor there. Oh yeah, it's junk. Did kind of compare it to the new one a little bit. You know, they're definitely the same, except that my new one's not spinning fluid everywhere. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on now. Kind of wiggle it into place there. Okay, that one's started. Always remember the main rule too. Never tighten any bolt fully till you've started all of them. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh no, never mind, there it goes. I almost had set the camera down, but... Oh, those are going in just fine. I'm actually thinking too, I have 2 lines going in and I have 2 bleeder screws. That kind of leads me to believe that I can probably still use this. I bet there are 2 separate cylinders in there. I might be able to use the front, the handbrake still until I get that line for the rear one. I won't know until I'm done, but either way, I have to install the caliper. So I think that's what we're going to do for now, is hook it up and just leave the plug in on that other one. If it works, I guess then I learned something, and so did you. Okay, those are tight. Now I'm just going to screw this line back into that spot where it goes. And I'm going to set the camera down to do that. So that's all I'm doing. I'm going to put that in there, fill up the brake reservoir, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, so we got all that line, well, we got the line that's still good hooked up. I have the bleeder open right now in the hopes it'll kind of gravity bleed a little bit. I kind of play with the handle a little bit. You can see it's going to bubble some. Oh, there we go. We just got a lot of pressure. So I'm sure I'm just chugging fluid out all over my floor right now. Fill that just so it doesn't run dry. And we'll come back down here. Oh yeah, I can definitely see where I've been spraying it. And I'm going to close my bleeder for now. Kind of just let it sit there until I get my helper out here to help me bleed them. Alright, so we got the caliper all bolted in, the lines on it. This line that was here used to be a rubber one, but the metal part of it was rotted out on mine. And as far as I can tell, because this doesn't actually flex, it goes with it. I think the only reason it was rubber is just so you could remove the caliper without unhooking the lines. I'm not real worried about that, and I didn't have one here, so I just went with that. But now we're bleeding it, so I filled the reservoir. I kind of pumped it slowly a few times, just to bleed a little bit of air out of the master cylinder itself. And then we're just going to this bleeder here. And we'll pump it just like you would on a car. Basically, have an assistant pull the brake handle and hold it in, and while they do so, you loosen this. So go ahead and pull the brake handle and hold it.
Hold it.
And it kind of sputtered out, so go ahead and do that again.
Holding.
And again.
Holding.
Okay, pump it a few times and then hold it.
Holding.
That's doing it. So basically we're just going to do that until it's a solid stream of brake fluid coming out every time we do that. And then the brakes should be working. Alrighty, so I got the brakes bled on it. I actually did have to go back and do the front ones. The system was dry long enough, and the handbrake lever up here controls the fronts and that. So since the rear one had been leaking and it emptied the system, the fronts had air in them too. But they bleed just the same as back there. So I bled those out, and I got the brakes. All in all, good one there. So that wraps this one here up with the brake caliper on. Thanks for watching the Grant Garage. If you liked the video, remember to like the video. Comment if there's anything you had questions on or want to see. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more.